Hi everyone, I welcome you all to my YouTube channel. So in this video we'll be discussing about the overheads or the indirect cost in the construction industry. This video is one of the most important videos from the point of view of construction cost management and monitoring. So in this video we'll be discussing about the different types of indirect cost, or also called as the project overheads. How are they calculated, what all constitutes them, and what all are their percentages. So we'll be discussing them with the practical examples also. So watch the video till the end, and I hope this video will be very useful for everyone watching. So see, what are overheads, and like let's take one example. For example, we are constructing one building, and the contract value for this building is, let's say, rupees 1000 crores. Okay, so what all will come in this 1000 crores? First of all, it will be constituted of the direct cost called as DC. Then it will be constituted of the indirect cost, and then there will be some profit margin for the contractor. Now see, in the direct cost is nothing but the labor, material and plant. For example, if you are doing concreting, then for doing the concreting may be RCC or maybe PCC. For doing concreting, you will require labor, you will require concrete, which is the material, and you will require the plant and machinery, which is nothing but your maybe batching plant, or maybe some chutes or pumps. So all this will be considered as the plant. So this is what is called as LMP, and this direct cost will be further categorized into civil, then structural, maybe civil, in the civil itself structural, then finishes, and then MEP. Civil is nothing but your CSR. CSR means concrete shuttering and reinforcement, then your structural steel, and your waterproofing. Then your finishes is nothing but your block work or masonry, plastering, then your painting, then doors and windows, then handrails, then your ceiling, etc. Similarly, MEP is mechanical, electrical and plumbing. MEP consists of HVAC, heating, ventilation and air conditioning, then your plumbing, sanitary and all, then your electrical works, then lifts, then fire protection system. This fire protection system is nothing but your fire alarm, sprinkler system and everything. Okay, so this is what is called as the direct cost. Now what is indirect cost? Indirect cost is what we are going to study in the video further. Then what is profit margin? Profit margin is nothing but some percentage of the total contract value that the contractor will be taking as his profit above his cost. For example, if suppose let's say contractor takes 10% of the profit margin, that means out of 1000 crores, 100 crores is his profit that will go into his pocket. But there will be some tax reductions, some corporate tax will be deducted into that, then there will be some other deductions also, then whatever will be the remaining will be his final profit that will go into the pocket. Okay, so I hope this part is clear to you all. So now one more thing that we are going to discuss is the contract value. How is the bifurcation of contract value done? So contract value is nothing but the direct cost plus indirect cost plus your profit margin plus your risk and minus of your opportunities. Okay, so let's discuss the IDC part in this video in details. See, first of all, IDC is also called as overheads, or it is also called as the hidden cost. Okay, Let me tell you one thing, that overheads are approximately 5 to 7.5% of the total project value in construction industry. Again, this is an approximation. It will further depend upon the type of project that you are doing, and so many other factors are also related to this. So the very first type of indirect cost that we are dealing with is the staff salary. See, what happens is, what is staff? Staff are basically all the engineers, all the in charges, all the supervisors that are involved in the construction of a particular utility, that is your construction project. So what happens is, this staff is not attributable to a certain activity. Like for example, you cannot say that this particular engineer is totally taking care of only concreting. The staff that is in planning, that is in billing, that is in execution, they are taking care of so many activities, so you cannot put them into a certain activity. So because of that, the staff will be considered as your overheads. So overheads are all those attributes that cannot be attributable to a certain activity. They are common to many activities like staff. Okay, other example I would take is carpenters. So carpenters are nothing but they are laborers, those laborers who are involved in doing the shuttering works at site. So we know that these carpenters are only attributable to shuttering work. So we cannot put those carpenters values in the overheads, like their salaries and their compensations. We cannot put them in overheads because they are specifically for shuttering trade. So we will put them in the direct cost, which is for reinforced shuttering. But staff, since staff is not fixed for any certain activity, so we will consider staff salaries in the overheads part. Okay, now see what happens. There is one schedule called as S4 schedule. In that S4 schedule, there will be 100, or maybe what is the total number of staff. All those staff numbers will be mentioned along with their names, along with their designations, along with their average salaries. For example, one will be the project manager, another will be the planning manager, then let's say some EHS engineer, safety, then QA QC engineer, and so on, like P&M staff, then planning engineers, supervisors, and so on. Their cadres will be mentioned. Suppose he is M1, he is M0, he is G0, he is G2, and so on. Their cadres will be mentioned. Then their staff months will be mentioned, like this project manager is required from this month to this month. For example, let's say M1 is month 1 and this project is for 12 months. So project manager will be required from first month to 12 month. Similarly, planning manager will also be required for all the months. But let's say safety engineer is not required in the first month. Instead, he is required from the second month till the 12th month, and so on. All their man months will be listed. Now you can calculate the total man months. For example, for project manager, the total man months is 12. Similarly, planning manager is also 12. Safety engineer is 11. QA QC is also, let's say, 11. P&M is also, let's say, maybe 10. Okay, so now you can add their total man months. MM is the total man months. Now you can also take their average salary. For project manager, let's say suppose their monthly salary is 2 lakh. For planning manager, 1.5 lakh. For EHS engineer, let's say 80,000, and so on. So what you can do is, you can multiply their total number of months with their monthly salary and add for all the staff, and you can get the total salary of the staff, which will be the cumulative. So this is the first overhead, which is one of the most important overheads in the construction industry, because this constitutes to a quite major portion in the construction project. Okay, I hope this is clear to you all. Now moving on to the other type of overhead, which is insurance cost. Insurance charges. See, what happens is, while the project is running, we have to take some insurances. For example, one insurance is called as car policy. which is contractors all risk policy, which protects the construction project from some natural hazards like cyclones, floods and all. You can read about this in some other video. Maybe I'll make some separate video for this insurance policy and all. So this is a car policy, which is nothing but an insurance that contractors take for their project. Similarly, one more insurance that usually contractors take is workman compensation policy. Then another type of insurance that usually is taken is group personal accident policy. So these insurances are usually taken for the complete duration of the project. For example, in this case, let us consider it as 12 months. So for this 12 months, the contractor has to pay some certain amount of premium to the insurance policy providers. So this premium is a monthly premium, which is some certain percentage of the total project value. So this monthly premium will be considered as the overhead, because this insurance is not attributable to a certain particular trade or an activity. So this is one kind of overhead. Now the next overhead that we will be discussing is the conveyance. See, what happens is, most of the contractors, what they do is, like, this is their project location, and this is the accommodation that has been given to the staff, and maybe this is the accommodation that they have given to labor, which is called as the labor colony or labor hutment. Now to reach from here to here and here to there, and similarly for the staff to come to project location and go back to their homes or maybe their accommodation places, they have to arrange some conveyance. Conveyance can be the labor buses, then it can also be one ambulance that they usually keep, then some cars for the staff, then some bikes for the staff or maybe some scooties or Activas, then some common staff bus. Now all these vehicles, they have some rental charges, monthly rental charges, and the number of months are associated with these vehicles. Like ambulance will be required throughout, like for 12 months, it will have some certain rent. Similarly, labor bus will also be required for 12 months. Cars will be required for maybe, let's say, 11 months. Bikes may be required for 10 months. Some common staff bus will be required for 9 months. They have their rental charges. If you multiply these rental charges with the number of months and you add them, then the summation will be the total conveyance charge for the complete project. So this is one important overhead that is taken in the calculations. Now moving on to the next overhead, which is the traveling charges. Now see, what happens is, like for example, again let's take some example, like this is the project location. There are several number of staff associated with this project. Now what will happen, some staff will be required to be sent to some training center for that particular company. They might have some training programs in some different city, or some staff may be required in some different project. This is maybe the training center. Or some staff may be required in some different project. This is a different project. So some staff may be required to be transferred to a different project. Some staff may be required to be sent for the training. Similarly, this is the headquarters and this is the regional office. So some staff, they will frequently visit from headquarters to the project, and similarly from the regional offices to the project location for the inspection of works, for expediting the works, for checking the progress of the works, and for checking the financial status or something. Okay, there will be several audits also, for which the quality engineers, the quality heads may also be required to visit the project site. So all these traveling charges will be considered, like for example training, numbers, how many number of trainings are expected throughout the project life cycle. So let's say 10 trainings. Similarly, travel from HQ, for example, 30 travels are expected. Then travel from regional office, let's say 15 travels are expected. Then transfers, let's say some 7 transfers are expected. Then the cost of this training, like cost of training means going from the project location to the training location, that what will be their charges of train or their flights. Similarly, travel from HQ, if 30 travels are scheduled, let's say for example, if someone visits from flight, then their average charge will be 18,000 rupees. Similarly, travel from regional office, then transfers, you have to multiply these numbers with the rent, with the charges, and then you have to add them up. So this will give you the traveling charges for the complete project. Okay, now moving on to the next type of overhead, which is nothing but water and power. Again, this is one of the very important overheads, water and power. See, for carrying out the complete construction work, you require water. Water is for drinking purposes and for construction purposes. For drinking purpose, you may either install one RO plant, or you can also get the supply from canes. Now this drinking water will not only be used for the staff but also for the laborers. So staff plus laborers. Now the construction water, either you can get the construction water from borewell or you can get it from municipality. So all this cost you have to calculate, like if you get from borewell, then it will be a minimal cost. If you get from municipality, then what will be the cost that you will have to pay to the municipality. Similarly, for the drinking water, how much will the setup of RO plant cost, how much will the cans cost. So this will give you some lump sum amount for the water calculation. Now coming to power, usually it is taken to the electricity board, electricity distribution board. So based on the units that you are consuming, you have to pay on a monthly basis. So you have to approximately find that this number of units will be used throughout the complete project monthly, and then you have to arrive to a certain amount that our power cost will be this much. Then apart from these two things, there is certain thing else also associated, that is cables, then light fixtures, then maybe transformers may be required to set up. Then you may also require the diesel generators as the power backup. So all these costs will constitute the water and power cost. I hope this is clear to you all. Now the next type of overhead is the bank charges. Now see, what happens is, in certain projects, the client provides you the mobilization advance. Mobilization advance is nothing but some amount, a decent amount that you get at the starting of the project to improve your cash flow and to arrange for your resources like your batching plant, or maybe to mobilize your staff, to mobilize your labor. So that mobilization advance is given by the clients to the contractors. So they give this such good value of mobilization advance by taking a return of a bank guarantee called as a BG, bank guarantee from you. That means you have to submit a bank guarantee. Bank guarantee you have to avail from a certain bank. Now to get this bank guarantee from a bank, you will be required to pay a certain premium amount to the bank on a monthly basis or something like that. So that amount that you pay to the bank for the bank guarantee, to avail that bank guarantee and submit it to the client, this bank guarantee, client will expect the bank guarantee, because suppose if you take the mobilization advance and you run away from the project, then in that case the client can avail this bank guarantee and the client can claim the amount of this bank guarantee from the bank. Okay, so this BG charges will be considered as the overheads. Then again there is something called as performance bank guarantee. You also have to submit a performance bank guarantee to the client as a security basis. Like you cannot run away from the project, and if for example the quality is not found good, then in that case the client can take client can claim this bank guarantee from the bank for that particular amount. So for this also you have to pay a certain premium. So all these charges for the bank guarantees will be considered in the bank charges. Now next type of overhead is the printing, stationery, photographs and videos. See, you have to print the drawings, you have to print several reports, you have to take weekly or monthly photographs through drones or maybe through some different modes. Then you also have to take some progress videographs. So all these charges will be considered in this overhead, which is printing, stationery, photographs and videos. Okay, next type of construction overhead is the temporary structures. Now see, what happens is, to run a project, you need to set up a site office where your staff will be sitting. Okay, so site office. In some cases, you also need a mess at site, mess for food at site. Or in other cases, they may have some canteens or they may get food from outside also, but there may be requirement of mess also. Then there will be requirement of some workshops for maybe plant and machinery or something else. Then storage yards, maybe for reinforcement, shuttering, storing, then for cement storage, etc. Then you may also require to set up a labor colony. Okay, then sometimes some approach roads or some temporary roads need to be set up, that you will only get to know when you will be visiting the site for site investigation during the tendering stage. Okay, then you may also require some car parkings or setup of a quality lab or something like that. So all these things will be constituted as a part of temporary structure, and this will be a different kind of overhead. Okay, so next type of overhead is the provident fund. So this is nothing but the PF that the laborers and the staff get. So this PF is around 13.61% of the basic salary, or maybe 13.50% of the basic salary. So this has to be given to the staff as well as the labor, and this again forms the overhead, because your staff and your labor, they cannot be constituted in a certain particular trade, so their salaries, their provident fund is considered as a separate overhead. Okay, so now another type of overhead is the safety arrangements. Now see, what happens is, you have to arrange for the helmets, you have to arrange for the PPE kits, then you have to arrange for safety nets, then you may be having to celebrate the safety day or the safety week. So all these costs will be constituted under this particular overhead called as the safety arrangements. Okay, I hope you get it. Then coming to the next type of overhead, which is 11th point, I think, hire and rental charges. Now see, what happens is, in some cases you may not set up a workman colony directly. Instead, what you can do is, you can hire a workman colony, maybe on rent. You can take a certain area and you can pay the rent, and you can keep your workmen over in this particular place and pay a monthly rent. So this rent will be constituted in the hire and rental charges. But if you are constructing a labor colony, then in that case the construction cost will be credited into the temporary structures and installation overhead. Okay, then other cases is accommodation of your staff. You have to give the accommodation to your staff. Certain companies, they give, certain civil engineering companies, they give accommodation to their staff also. So the rent that they have to pay for those accommodation thing is constituted in the hire and rental charges. Okay, then another type of overhead is the CSR activities. CSR is the corporate social responsibility. Nowadays, several companies are focusing on this CSR activities like setting up a school or helping the poor and needy people, setting up different types of like utilities for the poor people and the needy people. So the cost that will be coming for this thing will be coming under this overhead. Now next type of overhead is sundries and miscellaneous. All the left out overheads will be considered like small overheads like security guards. Like you will have some security guards at your site who will be taking care of the security. Then maybe some surveying equipment you will be purchasing, like total station or auto level, or maybe some licenses you will have to avail, and some certificates also you have to get, some clearances you have to get. Then some professional fees, licensing fees you have to pay to the government. Then some maybe laundry charges of the staff, then snacks for the staff and labor, then tea charges for the labor and the staff if you are giving it to labor also. So all these things will be coming under the sundries. Okay, then last thing is the departmental workmen. Now see, what happens is, apart from the workmen for the certain trades and activities like for concreting, rebar and shuttering, you have to have some workmen who are some common workmen, like some safety people, safety stewards, then maybe helpers, then maybe peons, then some security people, then some helpers in the time office like time office assistants and all, then assistants who are working at the stores, yards. All those people, they have a certain salary. All the salary of those departmental workmen will be considered in this particular part of the overhead. So I hope this particular topic is clear to you all. So in certain other video I'll be bringing some real examples where you will be learning to calculate the indirect cost for all these certain heads that we have discussed in this video. So thank you everyone, and do subscribe to the channel.